Midori Akitsu is a lonely and depressed woman overstressed because of work. After dying, she meets God, who reincarnates her into another world as a newborn child with godly powers. Our story opens with Midori Akitsu dying due to overworking. After dying, she cries and regrets how short her life was and how lonely she was. She couldn't even say goodbye to her parents. That's when God connects to her soul and contacts her. God tells her that humans are persecuting other creatures in a world called Asdilon, and if she wants to be born in that world with some special powers, her mission will be to decide if humans should be eradicated. He asks her what power she wants, and she, out of cravenness, replies that she wants to pet fluffy things. God becomes confused, but decides to make creatures other than humans like her as her special power and sends her to the other world without agreeing and listening to her decision completely. Moving forward to the main story, she wakes up in another world as a newborn baby. Her new parents name her Nefertima Osfe, and her sister gives her the nickname Nima. 3 years pass and Nefertima grows older. Nefertima reveals that she was reincarnated in the royal ducal family of Osfe as the third born. Nima proudly introduces each member of her family: her oldest brother Ralph, her lively sister Kana, her mother Carulia Osfe, her father Daland Osfe, and her beloved furry dog Dee. She fondly describes the love and support she receives from each of them, painting a picture of a perfect and happy life surrounded by loved ones and cherished pets. After some time, she grows and becomes 3 years old. Her mother has to go to work at a royal place but can't leave her at home as nobody is present at home at the moment, so she takes Nefertima with her. After arriving at the palace, she does a protection spell on her and leaves after telling her to wait for her and be a good girl. But Nima leaves the place after following a pigeon and ends up encountering a big fluffy white tiger. They become fond of each other, and while she's riding on the tiger's back, the owner of the tiger, who's a beautiful guy, tells Nefertima that Lars, the tiger, is tamed but still a beast, so she should get down as he could be dangerous. He puts her down and asks her about her parents. He learns that she's from the Osfe family, so he takes her to her father. There, she comes to know that the guy is actually the prince, and she also meets the king of the nation, Galdi Rus Gachet. When Cerulia hears all of this, she becomes mad at Nima but quickly cools down. Afterwards, Nefertima goes to her siblings' school with her parents, where they are warmly welcomed as honored guests. She watches a battle between her brother and someone where magical soldiers fight on a battlefield similar to chess. Her brother easily wins the battle, and she goes to her brother. When he grabs her, she tells him she has to handle some urgent business. After the mission, she finds her brother talking to a guy named Tristan Disdal. Out of nowhere, he disrespects Ralph, and Nefertima gets mad, and she also insults him back. After hearing this, he rages up and tries to kick Nefertima, while Ralph was almost there to protect her sister. The prince, Wilherd Rega Gachet, arrives, and out of respect, everyone bows down. He asks Tristan if he was trying to hit Nefertima, which he denies. Ralph asks the prince how he knows his sister. He explains the backstory, then grabs Nefertima and jokingly asks if she wants to be his plaything. She instantly denies it, but when he tempts her with the access of coming to his palace, she rethinks the golden opportunity. The prince tells Tristan to stay away from Nefertima and not do anything like that again. Then he asks Nefertima if her eyes are black, to which she lies because having black eyes in this world isn't something normal. Then they go to see the test of Kana, whose task is to defeat a monster summoned by a magic circle. A mighty holy fire dragon beast gets summoned. Everyone panics, as it seems impossible to have a huge beast summoned. The prince asks Daland if her daughter's element is fire, to which he replies that her fire skill is high but her water skill is low, meaning Kana is at a disadvantage. With a weird smile, Kana seems confident after seeing her opponent, as does Cerulia. Nefertima becomes brave and runs towards her sister, thinking every animal loves her and so will the dragon. She jumps from a huge height but is saved by magic. She runs toward the dragon. Everyone shouts at her to stop, but she doesn't listen. She goes near the dragon and tells everyone, including her sister, not to hurt it. Nefertima goes in front of the dragon and finds out that she can actually talk to the dragon. The dragon tells her that they unjustly summoned him, which is unfair. So he has to fight while she tells him that she wants to touch his skin. The dragon says, "What a strange child," but bows down so she can touch him. The dragon likes her and tells her that he can acknowledge her as his master when she grows up. He also gives her an orb that has the ability to change shape the way Nefertima wants. She gives it a teddy bag shaped by just thinking in her mind. The dragon tells her the orb will make them connected and she may use his magic through the orb. The dragon tells her his name, Sul, and leaves. On this matter, Nefertima and her parents get called by the king. They demand that she not become dangerous or a threat to the kingdom, to which Daland swears in his name that she will not. A mage named Salzar explains that the dragon was summoned by God himself and the spellcaster has nothing to do with it. After a while, Vilherd teases Nefertima but then lets her play with Lars, then sleeps with him. At the palace, everyone sees how Lars, a beast, is so casual with Nefertima, so they start gossiping about how she could be a great tool for a battle and how they should keep Nima under their supervision. The minister at the palace, Olive Wise, says to her father that Lars might be attached to her because of the red dragon. Then the head of the knighthood and royal guard, Gush Zelnan, advises that they should assign a personal guard to Nefertima. Then the priest of the church also tells Daland that he should let the church look after his daughter and they will grow her as a holy maiden. Ultimately, these useless thoughts make Daland angry, but he calmly explains that she is loved by animals and beasts because she is innocent. In the end, the matter goes to king and they finally make the people shut down who were against Nima. Nefertima gets woken up by Lars and then the kings tell her she can freely go anywhere in the palace she wants. Vilherd sends Nefertima to the dragon stables, accompanied by a handsome guard, Gwyn. There she meets the captain of the Dragon Knights Legion, Dan Yates. For unknown reasons, Gwyn and Dan start insulting each other, but Nima stops them. It is revealed that both have been rivals of each other since school. Dan takes Nima inside the stables, and Nima gets amazed by the beauty of the dragons after seeing the view. She finds out that Dan also loves dragons, just like her. She desires to pat the dragons, but resists saying it to Dan as she thinks he'll decline her request to touch them. That's when her orb backpack starts to glow, and she uses a power that makes all the dragons come towards her. The dragons surround her. Dan, Gwyn, and others think that the dragons are going to attack them, but Nima introduces herself and starts to converse with them. This shocks everyone else, but she is busy patting them. After being comfortable with the dragons, she asks Dan if she can play with the flying dragon, to which he reluctantly replies yes. She goes to the dragon's back, and he flies. They get more shocked by this special treatment of dragons towards Nima. The dragon asks Nima if he detects the fire dragon's presence in her, but sees no contract with the fire dragon. He welcomes her as the dragon maiden and takes her to a garden, where she starts playing with all kinds of dragons. Meanwhile, Dan tells Gwyn that the dragon that took away Nima is Gazelle, who has pride and won't let anyone on his back, but gives Nima a ride. After seeing all of this, Dan gets confused, but then Gwyn makes him remember the event of the red dragon. Dan reveals that he heard about the event and saw the dragon while he was flying. Gwyn says that Nima is now known to be the fire dragon's master, but she hasn't made a pact with him. They could not believe it, but one new thing shocks them more. Nima arrives on the back of Lars, accompanied by the dragons. Later, Nima tells Dan and Gwyn that she had so much fun after giving the dragons head pats. And you know what else is fun? Patting the like and subscribe button with your mouse or finger. You should try it if you haven't yet. But if you do, I get to share more fun stories with you. Plus, it'd really help me out. I'd appreciate it. The next day, Nima visits Beast Stables. There, she meets the captain of the Beast Knights Legion, Lestin Ogma, formerly known as Les. Les becomes suspicious because of her red dragon story. Les takes her inside the stables, which turn out to be a beautiful big garden like a safari park. Nima sees a beautiful brown horse, Uwaz, the leader of the herd, who isn't friendly. Even he ignores Nima. But when Les calls him selfish, that comment hurts Uwaz. Then Nima consoles her and Les apologizes to Uwaz. Later, Nima rides on another horse, Hugh. Furthermore, Nima thinks that type of beautiful horse will be perfect for her brother. Les on Uwaz, Nima and Dan on Hugh roam around the stables while checking new and different species of animals. Suddenly, the children of the boars attack them, but they get saved by Uwaz. Nima thanks Uwaz, and Uwaz responds charmingly, which leaves Les in doubt again. Why is the leader of the herd being friendly to an unknown girl? After a while, they see a flock of wakas, the fastest animals on the lands, who are used in emergencies and as messengers. Nima, being Nima, demands to ride them, even though an unwilling Les accepts. They start riding a waka, Yoshu, and it turns out to be so fast that the fast air hurts Nima's eyes. Les then casts a spell to protect Nima from the wind, which he didn't from the start to tease Nima. Les gets a message via his messenger eagle that one of the rare white moose ran away, so he apologizes to Nima and calls it a day for tourism, but tells her she can revisit any time. Moments later, he meets his subordinates and tells them to find the moose quickly. Meanwhile, Nima goes to meet Giselle again. He goes into deep thinking about why the day was so weird today, that Uwaz took a liking to Nima, Yoshu obediently obeying orders, and the escape of Moose. After some time, Nima comes back to the beast stables with Lars while riding on the lost moose's back, telling him she found her while she was with Lars. Les becomes jealous of her and takes a liking to her special ability to be loved by animals. On another day, it's Nima's. Her parents ask her for one wish they'll fulfill, which she demands, going to the city with her sister. At first, they try to deny it but eventually agree to send her with Kana and Paul. Nima goes on her first shopping trip with her sister. Kana teaches her about how to use currency here. Nima then uses it to buy 3 legs of turkey and 24 confectionaries called Pepe's, calling her first shopping trip a success. After a while, Kana stops at a cafe where she meets 3 blunt and rude women. They trash-talk Nima to Kana, saying that Nima is weird, doesn't look like her parents, and has no magical powers. Further, they target her black eyes and call them creepy. Kana maturely and calmly handles the situation by telling them they're idiots in the most mannered way. She tells them that the royal family is fond of her sister and thinks that Nima is incredible. The women start to show jealousy on their faces, so Kana tries to ignite them more by telling them they are ignoble and how it would be bad for her family's name to talk to women like them. She leaves after this conversation. Upon arriving home, Nima is walking to the main room while thinking about how cool her sister was today and what an amazing day it was for her birthday. As soon as she opens the main door, she gets welcomed by a party bumper with a birthday event with many guests, including the prince, king, and queen as well. Daylan tells her that they kept it a secret to surprise her. Seeing the love everyone has for her, Nima starts crying. Wilherd tries to tease her by telling her that she looks ugly when she cries. The queen, Relena Linus Gache, gives Nima a gift from the king and herself. Turns out, it's a necklace with a set of beautiful magic stones. Wilherd also gives a protection band. She further receives various gifts from the guests, including a baby eagle she receives from Les, which she names Nox. In an open field, Nima starts training Nox. Les suggests that she should try flying Nox tomorrow, to which Nima gets sad and says that she might not be able to come by as much anymore as she has to start studying. Then she meets Annalie Dessa, her new private tutor. As soon as the butler leaves the room, she tells Nima that they have to start working on her manner of speech. She then hits Nima with a hand fan and tells her that the butler told her that Nima still calls her parents as Mama and Papa. After Nima glares at her, she tells Nima that a noble lady should never let her emotions be seen. This makes Nima think of her as her enemy. Annalie continues to teach her and hits her every time she makes a mistake. After that, she leaves for the day, saying there's still a lot she has to learn. At night, Nima thinks that Annalie is making fun of her and she should retaliate. The next day, Nima uses her cuteness and thanks Annalie for her guidance. At night, Nima's family gets worried as she has not finished her food. After her mother asks about her health, Nima runs away, trying to avoid telling her about Annalie. Ralph brings her to her mother, who guesses that Nima is feeling down because of Annalie. Nima then tells her that she has to fight her own battles. Her mother tells her that in order to win, she'll have to come up with some strategy. Ralph tells her that he won't interfere in her fights, but he'd love to see Nima grow into a noble lady one day. Her mother tells Nima that she'll keep this a secret from Dale and Kana too. A year passes by and Nima has turned into a lovely noble lady. Even Dale is surprised to see Nima like this. Nima then gives all of the credit to Annalie, which makes her blush, and she says that she's very proud, but Nima feels something weird. Nima then asks Paul, the butler, about Lady Annalie, who hands Nima some papers and tells her that while looking for a tutor for Nima, they looked into Annalie's background and found nothing suspicious about her. However, some of Annalie's relatives are ardent believers in the Church of Divine Creation, the church with the lousy priest, who acted like some messenger from God. Annalie then continues to teach Nima, and while teaching her, Nima asks Annalie about Leku, a country in the southwest that's struggling due to drought. They were suffering from a food shortage and lack of water, so they resorted to asking for help from the neighboring regions. Nima then asks why the Church of Divine Creation hasn't helped them, to which Annalie replies that they have angered God, and if anyone from the church would help them, it'd mean that they're going against God's will. Nima then tells her that since the God of Divine Creation created all of the people, it wouldn't make any sense to kill them as a punishment. Annalie tells her that Laku harbors the beast people and who knows what else they must be doing. When Nima asks if Annalie has ever met any beast people, she replies that they're too terrifying to approach. Nima then realizes that the reason she's been feeling weird is because of the discriminatory elitism that is caused by Annalie's beliefs. Nima then tells her that someone like Annalie shouldn't be so uncouth. This infuriates Annalie and she hits Nima on the face. Nima then tells her that, as the daughter of the Duke, she'll never be this uncultured. She then embarrasses Annalie, who storms out of the room, and Nima mumbles that it's a victory for her. She still continues the tutoring sessions, and Nima learns how to act like a proper lady. One day, Dale asks Nima if she'd like to go on a tour of the Northern Territory with him, and Nima agrees. They go through a magical portal and are instantly teleported. Dale then casts a magic spell on Nima to keep her warm, as the northern weather is extreme. They then stop to take some rest, where Dale tells them about monster spotting in the nearby area and tells them that they're going to build an outpost for the knights to protect the people. Dale then says that he'd like to get some help from Sol, as he might have more information related to the monsters. Nima then uses her bunny to contact Sol and tells him about the situation, to which he replies that monsters shouldn't be in that area. Dale suspects that it may be a man-made problem. Outside, the inn, Nima prepares for her remaining journey and packs all of the stuff that she might need, such as a knife and Nox's cage. As they continue their journey, the crew finds an injured rabbit. While the rest of her crew members suggest that they should leave as blood attracts monsters, Nima decides to help the poor creature, and against her father's will, she runs to help the little creature. As she finds the rabbit and is heading back to get it all patched up, Nima gets captured by goblins, and they take her to their lair. However, upon closely looking at their actions, she thinks that they're cute. However, she soon remembers that they're monsters. They then take her to a cell where she meets Pino, a green-haired sweet boy, and his sister Nino. While waiting for Dale to come and rescue them, they all get hungry. Driven by hunger, Nima tries to find the exit but is encountered by a goblin. Upon asking for food, he hands her a yellow-colored fruit. She takes a bite, but it's bitter. The goblin then shows her that she first has to peel it off, for which she uses her knife. The goblins, upon seeing this, starts using the sharp rocks near them to peel it off, and they all start having fun. Nima, upon seeing this, decides that she doesn't want any of the goblins exterminated. She then encounters the goblins' leader, who is a huge but sweet goblin. He scolds the goblins for kidnapping another human child. To her surprise, he can talk in human language. Upon asking him why the goblins are kidnapping kids, he tells her that it's their nature. Rather than calling it kidnapping, they're taking care of the kids. She then asks him why the goblins are killing humans, to which he replies, to survive. He then tells her that the reason they left their previous nest was because they were chased out by humans. Nima, feeling guilty, asks the goblins whether they would like to get their revenge on the humans, to which the leader replies that they just want to become a part of the forest once again. Nima comes up with a plan to save the goblins, to which the leader replies, so it's okay to kill the humans. She thinks that the only way the goblins can survive is by forming a contract with humans. She tells them that the only way her plan will work is if they make it out alive from her father's rage today. She then comes up with a plan to help the goblins survive. She asks Pino and Nino for their help and asks them to act as decoys and pretend to be chased by goblins. That way, when some of the helpers would go and protect the children, it would be easier for Nima to talk to her father. Pino refuses, as it would put Nino in danger. Even after telling him that she would put a protection spell on them, he still refuses and tells her that he doesn't want Nino to go through anything scary ever again. However, to everyone's surprise, Nino agrees to help them and even motivates Pino to help her. Just as Dale is outside the cave's entrance, Pino and Nino come out running and screaming, getting chased by goblins. Some of the rescuers protect the children, while the rest of them chase the goblins, only to be encountered by the goblin leader, who tells them that they'll return the children. Dale comes and tells him that it's rare to see a talking goblin, and he starts attacking him. Just as he unleashes his attack, he notices that the goblin leader is protected by the same shield Nima is. He calls out Nima, who comes out and apologizes to him. However, as she meets her father, some of the rescuers attract the goblin leader again, who is once again protected by Nima's shield. Seeing this, Nima rushes to protect the goblin leader and tells her father the reason why the goblins left their previous nest. This cools him down a little. As soon as the entire situation is handled and all of them make peace, Nox, who is still in the air, signals the crew for immediate danger moments before they're faced by a terrifying frost spider about which rumors were heard. Even Dale is scared after looking at it. While everyone is scared, the goblin leader steps in. Nima tries to stop him, but her father stops her, saying that it's his own fight and he has to fight it. Before the fight begins, Nima senses that the frost spider is starving and is panicked. She understands why the spider would be hungry, but is unsure why it's panicking. The fight starts, and the frost spider makes a great start, but as soon as it's about to land a proper hit on the goblin leader, he jumps in the air as if he's flying. He comes down from that height and punches the spider with all his might, smashing its head and popping one of its eyes. Thinking that it's all over, the goblin leader lets his guard down, and as soon as he's about to celebrate his victory, the spider jumps on the goblin leader. Nima thinks that if the goblin leader loses, her father will wipe out all of the goblins. As she's panicking, the almost dead spider starts to rise up, and it's the goblin leader who's picking it up. He picks it up and throws her away, telling Nima that the only reason he's safe is because of Nima's protective spell. As the spider struggles to live, Nima hears its voice telling Nima that the spider wants to protect its kids. Confused, Nima then sees a baby spider crawling up to her. She then understands that the reason why the spider was panicking was because it was pregnant. Just as she's releasing all of this, the spider passes away. Nima gets heartbroken because of this, and although she dislikes God, she still prays to the spider that if it goes into the afterlife, let it live in peace. Looking at her sad daughter, Dale also gets worried as soon as he's about to get her. Nima stops crying and says that it's the survival of the fittest. However, she can't change that, no matter how selfish she gets. Her father, after seeing this, hugs her, and Nima starts to cry her lungs out. Dale calms her down and wipes away her tears. As soon as she stops crying, the goblin leader evolves into a human form with small black horns and dark blue hair. Upon asking Sul, she finds out that the goblin leader, the hobgoblin, was already in the highest evolutionary form that could be achieved by goblins. She then describes his new evolved form, to which Sul replies that he does know that an Oni lives in Wazite who possesses human bodies and horns. When Nima asks what Oni is, Sul says that he'll personally come and look into the situation. After this, Nima asks the baby spider what it wants and whether it would like to come with them, to which the baby spider climbs up on her shoulder and Nima gives her a name, Gratia. By naming her, some weird symbol appears on Gratia's forehead. The next day, as the goblin leader is busy removing the frost spider's body, Nima asks him whether he's going to free all of the adult humans he's kept as prisoners, to which he replies yes. Nima then meets the injured rabbit, who's now all patched up. She asks her father if she can keep him as a pet, but he turns her idea down, saying that it'll disturb the ecosystem. She then lets the rabbit go. After she lets the rabbit go, Nox lands on her head and reminds her that she already has a pet. While she's at it, she remembers that she has to show Gratia to her father, who gets angry knowing that Nima has kept him as a pet. The goblin leader shows up and explains the difference between animals and monsters. He tells Nima that monsters are defects, that goblins are defective versions of humans, and that frost spiders are defective forms of spiders. He tells them that their being defective is the reason they're weak. He tells them that in order to become stronger, monsters require names. He then tells them that if someone strong gave a name to a monster, the monster would be stronger. She then gets scolded by her father for giving the baby spider a name. They then continue their journey along with Pino and Nino. Meanwhile, Saul comes and examines the newly evolved goblin leader. He tells them that the goblin leader is not an Oni, as they cannot use elemental powers. However, the goblin leader has no idea what that is, so Saul decides to teach him by practicing on clay dolls. But to everyone's surprise, he can use all of the elemental powers and completely destroys the clay dolls. Nima then accidentally gives the goblin leader the name of Shinki, which he gladly accepts and makes Nima his master. Nima tells her father about her plan of monsters and humans living together in harmony. She tells him that the main issue that the monsters are currently facing is that they are losing their homes. In order to solve this problem, they need to find a new place to live. She suggests that they should be given a specific piece of land in the forest where they can live at peace. It'll be protected by a protection barrier, and in case of overpopulation, the Adventures Guild would use it as a training area. Its expanse would have been covered by placing inns and shops at the base of mountains. Dale then plans to move on to the next inspection site, for which he asks Shinki for his help, as his newly discovered elemental powers and his knowledge about the monsters would be extremely useful. Hearing her thoughts, he hesitates to accept the offer, as he would have to leave the nest, the place where the goblins live, for a long time. However, he agrees to do so, but demands that her master, Nima, first give the name to the second strongest goblin after him, to which she agrees. The second strongest goblin turns out to be a girl who can talk a little bit, as she had been Shinki's right hand. Nima names the second strongest goblin Suzuko. As they are celebrating, another goblin appears and demands that Nima also give him a name, to which Suzuko says that he's weak, but Nima decides to give him a name anyway. She asks what name he would prefer, and he tells Nima that his last crew was annihilated and he would like a name so that he'd get strong and protect his new crew. Despite being told that he's weak, Nima decides to give him a name on the condition that by the next time she comes back, he should be able to hunt down a giant boar all by himself, to which he agrees. Nima then names him Tuki, meaning fighting ogre. On their way back from the nest, Nima tells Shinki about all of the people and creatures she's surrounded by and tells him how much she loves all of them. Shinki then tells her that he had a brother who unfortunately died fighting the humans. As he gets down and gets depressed, Nima tells him that he's a part of her circle too and that they both are friends now. On the way to the next inspection site, in order to find out about some recent monster sightings, Dale asks Shinki about the path he took while fleeing from his previous nest. Shinki tells him his route, which helps Dale pin down the places where monsters might be situated. It also matches with the eyewitness reports. Nima then notices that the Osfi domain is filled with monsters, and her father suspects that humans might be involved in this incident, but he agrees to a proper investigation. The crew then stops at the town of Cass as Dale has to go back. He tells Nima that he's asked Ralph to fill in for him. In the town, Nima sneaks out into the Adventurers Guild, which looks like an employment center. She tells the receptionist that she only wanted to take a look around, as the guide in the royal capital is pretty far from her home. During her tour, she finds some men fighting, and one of them is screaming, "Is the guild just going to sit by and ignore the injustice?" He then continues to blame the mayor for sending out some of the adventurers only to get them killed by the monsters. Upon asking the receptionist, Miss Bella, she tells them that the name of the person who's shouting is Heilran DeWitt, who's apparently pretty good at his job but doesn't get along with the mayor. Bella tells them that Heilran used to work at the castle, which makes Nima curious, and she asks him what he's on about, to which he tells her it's no time for children. Ultimately, she then uses her family card and tells everyone that she's the daughter of the Duke, which amazes everyone. And Heilran then tells her that the mayor is corrupt and that he's taking false money for himself. Nima asks him to swear in his name that he'll tell her father everything. She then sends Nox with a letter to her father to come to the mayor's house. Bella helps Nima to take her there. On the main gate, Nima encounters her father, who scolds her and gets a bit disappointed about the fact that Nima used the family name. Seeing her father like that makes Nima tear up. But as she's about to cry, Ralph appears and tells her father that he's not allowed to make Nima cry. Remembering all the times her siblings have helped her, she starts to cry, but Will, the prince, wipes her nose off. Nima then tells her father about the mayor's embezzlement, and her father, after having a long conversation with the mayor, arrests him. The next day, Dale praises the efforts of Heilran DeWitt, the financial auditor of the town. He compliments his insight and investigation abilities. Dale offers him a place at the palace, but Heilran declines, saying that he has no plan to return now. Seizing this opportunity, Nima invites both Heilran and Belle to work for her instead. Dale tells everyone that Nima currently has a plan, and if they interfere, all their lives can be in danger. He then proceeds to take their vows upon their names, including Wilhelt, the prince of the kingdom. After hearing the plan, Wilhelt thinks that it is quite bizarre. Since Ralph will be the next duke, Dale puts him in charge. Wilhelt and everyone else agree to help Nima out. Meanwhile, Shinki comes back after working things out with the local goblins. Nima asks her father if he has any information about the kobolds in Lennis, and he says that there are reports of a large horde and an attack on a caravan. The squad leader reveals that there are around 100 kobolds separated into groups who are led by a werewolf of even a higher rank. They learn that someone might be stopping information from reaching the royal capital. The people who attacked Shinki were either imposters, posing as adventurers, or someone made a request of a guild. Dale says that there could be spies in other provinces and knighthood too. He thinks of a code name for the enemy, naming it Runohark, and decides to call the attack on the monsters Southern Province Incident. The next day, they set out for Lennis. On their way, Wilherd decides to name Nima's plan Shiana Project. When Dale reaches home, he tells Kana and Cerulia that someone is behind the appearance of countless monsters in their domain. Cerulia decides to help by searching various guilds. She reveals a letter from Philip, a close associate of Dale and one of the few purple-ranked adventurers, saying that he will be in the capital tomorrow. Dale suggests that he would be a perfect instructor for Kana as she needs to practice fighting monsters too. Kana becomes resolute that she must become stronger and stay by Nima's side. In the meantime, Nima and others reach Lennis. At the gate, they request entry and are asked for verification. Vilhelt and others step out of the vehicle, leaving Nima behind. Nima, feeling left out, uses wind spirits to hear the outside voices. Vilhelt tells that he is traveling unannounced as a companion of Ralph. There, he is greeted by Dylan Noctis, commander of the Parzeth District Office and member of the 1st Legion. He informs them that the area is dangerous because of the rogue kobolds. Ralph tells him that he is monitoring the monster sightings on behalf of the Duke. Dylan lets them through to meet the proxy lord, Marquis Parzeth. Turns out, he is a pale-looking man and has large eye bags. Ralph asks if he's been getting enough sleep, and Marquis reveals that there have been so many kobolds lately, so no. He says that they have contacted the Adventurers Guild because the knights can't keep up with them, and says that they will make a move once Red Hlada, a famous adventurers party, arrives. Nima starts worrying that the party will exterminate the kobolds and she won't be able to execute her plan. While panicking, she asks Marquis if they could have some time to look around the city first. Ralph and Vilhelt cover it up and succeed in buying time. They head outside to have a look, and it's disastrous everywhere. When they go to the slums, they find malnourished children, even though Marquis should be supplying them with aid. This indicates that someone else was intercepting it. Suddenly, they hear a noise, and the knighthood, along with Shinki and Nima, run to see what's happening. Upon reaching, they see children stomping on a puppy. One child says that they were doing it because his dad says all dogs are enemies. Nima realizes that his dad meant kobolds as dogs. She tells him that it's shameless to attack someone so defenseless. The child gets enraged and is about to hit Nima, but is stopped by the knighthood. Nima says, "You mustn't immediately resort to brute force." Nima takes the puppy in her hands and gives motivating advice to him. He identifies himself as Belgar and swears to protect his loved ones. Saying that, the children leave and Ralph heals the puppy. Shinki reveals that it is a kobold pup, leaving everyone shocked. Nima suggests that they should give it back to its mother and the kobolds won't attack them immediately because of Lars. While the group is exploring the town, Hilran points out that it's the noon hour and the bell hasn't rung, which he finds suspicious. He thinks that the town is hiding something, and Nima asks him if he could look into this matter. Nima gives him wind spirits so he could inform Lars in case of an emergency. They split up with Hilran to take the kobold pup back home and to negotiate with kobolds about Project Shiana. They head into the forest to look for their hideout. The kobold pup tells Nima the way and gets excited as they get close. Shinki picks up Nima so they can walk faster. Suddenly, they hear the bushes moving and the knighthood immediately cut the grass. Apparently, it's a slime. Nima is immediately attracted to its soft body. Shinki reveals that he can understand what the slime is saying. The slime is asking for their help and that its weakened comrade is up ahead. It leads the way, and Ralph promises Nima that he will help her if things get ugly. Upon reaching the destination, they see a parent slime. It's a large slime and many baby slimes can be seen inside it. It could give birth any moment, but Nima tries to stop it, saying that it's cold and dangerous here. Vilhelt says that parent slimes become parasitic and cannot move on their own, but they don't reproduce while inhabiting someone. Nima is scared that it might eat her, but Slime reveals that it doesn't eat the person it likes. Nima agrees and names the parent slime, Shizuku. Shizuku becomes happy and enters Nima's body. Shizuku says that the baby slime will be the next parent, so they can't leave it alone. Nima decides to keep it with her and names the baby slime Haku. They continue their journey to find the kobolds. Vilhelt says that they have walked a long distance, but the scenery hasn't changed. They ask Lars, and he says, "Magic isn't the only phenomenon, nor is living creatures and spirits everything. The god of divine creation's power overflows throughout the world, which indicates that there could be something else besides magic." Nima whispers something in Lars's ears, and the spirits start moving differently. They tell Gratia and Shinki to wait for a while and go ahead. They walk for a while, and a flashback is shown where Vilhelt is reading a book about guardians to Nima. They are beings which are neither magical nor living creatures or spirits. They see a giant tree and figure out that it's the guardian. Nima apologizes for the inconvenience, but the guardian says that it's all right and asks who she is. She introduces herself, and the guardian asks how it can help him. Upon asking about kobolds, the guardian says that it can't disclose that information because the kobolds were driven to the forest by the humans and he decided to hide them. Nima makes the tree aware of the current situation that the kobolds will be exterminated if they don't do anything. Guardian agrees to help Nima, but also warns her that if she betrays him, she will not leave the forest alive. Nima says that she will swear upon her name, but the Guardian stops her, saying that she doesn't need to go this far. The Guardian creates a path in the forest for the group, and Nima thanks him. With the help of the spirits, they start moving through the forest. Nima sighs, saying that food will also be a problem for Project Shiana. She asks Shinki what goblins eat for food, and he says that they can eat anything but kobolds are omnivores. Suddenly, Lars and Nox start pointing at danger, and a large bug appears to attack them, but Nox defeats it. Ralph says that it is a bug monster called Mamushi. Shinki says that it's edible and starts roasting it on fire. He gives the big piece to Lars and smaller one to Nox. When Nima tastes it, she thinks that it's very delicious. Wilhelt and others try it without even cooking it first and think that it can be used as a great meal. Nima tells everyone to hunt these bugs if they see any because she wants to give them to the kobolds as a gift. After hunting and collecting many mamushis, they continue their journey. After walking for a while, they see a lot of red eyes of kobolds in the dark. Nima tries to explain the situation, but Shinki tells her that the kobolds don't trust her. Nima tells them about the mamushi meat they brought for them, and they decide to talk to their leader. Soon they reach a place in the forest which is filled with kobolds. Nima is happy seeing all the fluffy kobolds. A kobold approaches them and asks their purpose for being there. Nima tells them that they're here to return the little pup. Later, Nima tells the kobolds about the mamushi meat they brought for them. Nima returns the little pup and distributes meat amongst the kobolds. The female kobold says that her name is Cicely and is grateful for them. She then proceeds to tell her their story that the kobolds were persecuted by humans. Nima tells her that an extermination squad will be here soon, to which she replies, "I know." Cicely reveals that she's a star reader, a priestess able to tell the fortune. She tells Nima that she intends to fight the humans. Nima starts telling her about the Project Shiana, but Cicely interrupts, saying she refuses to trust humans. After a while, Ralph and others come and tell Nima that they need to head back. Nima tells her that she will come back tomorrow. Cicely looks up at the sky and sees that a savior star is next to their star. The next day, back at the castle, they get a letter from Dale stating that Kana is heading their way. Wilhelt reads a report stating that the prince temporarily holds the power to arrest. It means that they can get rid of any knight that gets in their way. Ralph notices that Heelran still hasn't come back. A spirit tells Shinki that Heelran is hiding somewhere in the slums but doesn't need much help. Nima says that she will go back to the forest. She greets the kobolds and gives them food. Cicely is surprised when she sees monsters with Nima. Nima explains how she helped all the monsters and that she wants to help the kobolds too, but Cicely is unsure about it and says that she needs to protect them. Cicely cries while telling that all of her bloodline except for her sister was killed. Nima gives her Haku to calm her down. After that, Nima tells Cicely about her plan. Cicely is surprised to hear that a human is helping monsters. Nima tells her that race and tribe doesn't matter to her and she wants to save everyone. Cicely agrees to join Nima in her plan. After some time, Nima is greeted by another kobold named Hanley. Nima tells him that she is the leader of goblins and the one who named Shinki, and Hanley is surprised by hearing that. Nima asks him about kobolds and Hanley tells her about the ecology. He says that kobolds are split into two types, hunting and lifestyle. Hunting bloodlines excel with weapons and physical abilities, and lifestyle bloodlines excel at craftsmanship and things useful in daily life. While he's still explaining it, Nima jumps onto him and turns out his fur is super soft. Ralph and Wilhelt also join Nima. Soon all the kobold leaders are gathered and Nima explains Project Shiana to them. Eventually, they all like and support her plan. Nima also mentions that the adventurers will be here too, so need an evacuation plan too. While Nima explains the evacuation plan, she is interrupted by Cicely's sister. It turns out that she's from the wolf tribe and was abandoned. She says not to trust humans because all the humans are greedy and rude, and all the leaders start questioning it too, but Cicely tells everyone to watch their mouths. Cicely's sister starts crying and continues that she wants to help their pack too, and that she wants to defeat humans too. Nima realizes that she was feeling left out and decides to help her. Nima asks her if she wants to join her and help the kobolds. She wonders if she really can do it, and Cicely says that Nima is our savior and that she must protect her. Nima wonders what she means by it, and Cicely says that they are only getting helped because of Nima and that Ralph and Wilhelt would have given up. Ralph and Wilheld also agree. Nima suggests to Ralph that he should infiltrate the extermination squad so they could decrease casualties and could use healing magic too. All the kobolds start working on the escape plan. Later, Nima is greeted by a kobold named Fika, who says that he, along with 2 other kobolds, will act as a messenger. Back in Lenis, Nima sends the other 2 kobolds, Gu and Roku, to scout the adventurers. The knights disguise themselves to infiltrate the adventurers' forces to collect information. Wilheld and Ralph decide to visit the knighthood's post. They all meet the extermination squad and tell them that they have some things to discuss. While walking, Nima sees Hilran and is surprised. Hilran tells her to shush and she whispers, "Report at night." Ralph asks the man in charge if he can join the squad because he can use healing magic, and he agrees. Suddenly, they hear a knock at the door and a knight whispers something in the leader's ears and he quickly heads back. A spirit reveals to Shinki that some knights who tried to break up a fight between some adventurers were injured. They head out to take a look, and Nima is shocked to see it. As the group stares in horror at the injured knights, Wilherd explains the wounds seem to be both from carnivorous beasts and magic. Ralph, noticing the healing knights won't be enough, decides to step in, and heals many of the knights at once. One of the knights explains the culprit behind the attacks is a beastmaster, similar to Lester and the Beast Knights, making it clear there are criminals pretending to be regular adventurers. Later that night, after they've caught the perpetrator, Nima wanders the halls thinking about the mysterious Beastmaster attacker. She enters a room, meeting Wildherd, Ralph and Hilran. Having Hilran report his investigation on the knights, noting the regional commander to be shady as he's been stealing relief aid, embezzling funds, and taking bribes from adventurers. Nima wanted to know more about the bribes, so Hilran explained that if adventurers paid him, he'd over-report their achievements, giving them a better standing at the Adventurers Guild. Wilherd is a little vexed, since there's no physical evidence, as Hilran is concluding this because of his lack of being able to follow the money trail. But contemplating a little more, Wilherd figures out the knights must be inflating the amount of supplies they ordered, and if they go through the knights' orders and deliveries, they'll definitely find something off. Wilherd then entrusts Hilran with his royal crest and authority to look into the knights. However, this could also put a target on Hilran's back from the wrongdoers, so Nima makes a prayer to the spirits to protect him. The next day at the kobold camp, Wilherd explains his plan for the kobolds to fight his knights, while keeping the casualties to a minimum as much as possible. He then has Nima speak, and she tells everyone to prepare themselves, because there will be casualties. But she's heartbroken, knowing Wilherd will also be harming the soldiers from his kingdom that he swore to protect. Afterwards, walking through the forest, Wilherd explains she needs to stop wearing that sad expression. Everyone will panic if they see their leader looking uneasy. But when someone chooses a path in a situation like this, they shouldn't waver. Nima wonders if Wilherd ever feels conflicted, to which he responds he definitely does, especially knowing he's following his father's footsteps, being the future king. Will his choices betray the hopes of the people around him? He thinks these things all the time, but when making a decision, he is resolute. They suddenly get a message from Ralph. The Beastmaster has been released from jail in order to strengthen the Knights' forces, pissing Wilherd off, knowing the Knights' commander is overstepping his authority. All this only makes Nima more concerned about the fate of tomorrow's battle. The next day, Gu and Roku come to cheer her up. The kobold fight leader can tell she's worried, but regardless, they choose to stand by Nima. With his encouraging words, Nima snaps out of her funk. And later, Wilherd gives a change of plans, explaining the powerful adventurer group Red Hlada has arrived, as well as the criminal Beastmaster fighting on the side of knights as well. Cicely's sister comes to comfort Nima. However, she suddenly senses the arrival of enemies, and we see the Knights' extermination squad approaching. As the Knights continue to march, Shinki casts a fog to obscure their vision, and Wildherd sends Lars to launch an air raid. And the kobolds come in to incapacitate the Knights using special herbs and tie them up against trees. Also, the undercover Knights are doing their work as well. They find the captured Beastmaster, who sneakily calls his white cat to attack. But luckily, Gratia puts the cat out with Bite, saving the day, also biting the Beastmaster, paralyzing him. Wilherd then moves to the next plan, releasing logs to obscure the Knight's walking path, and some of the Knight's team also fall into a preset pitfall, where Nima had Haku lay at the bottom, ready to dissolve both armor and weapons. However, the biggest threat appears: the adventurer group, Red Hlada. Their leader Yuno tells Sarah the mage to save the men in the pitfall, and she brings them up with an earth pillar. The kobolds and the knights engage in combat. Amongst Red Halada's squad, Nima notices a beast person, who tells Yuna that he can smell humans helping out the kobolds, making Yuna realize he wasn't imagining things when he had heard the voice of a little girl earlier. As Yuno easily cuts down the kobolds, he commands the knights to protect the wounded and the healers. With Nima staring in horror at the defeated kobolds, Vilherd tells her to not look away, and to remain resolute in this path she chose. Kobold mages then cast an advanced fire spell, which is powerful enough to give caution to Yuno and his gang, making them fall back. Yuno tells the knights they need to retreat, but the knights' commander is more worried that they've only exterminated half the kobolds. Yuno doesn't want to take any more losses, however. But wait, despite how hard the fight has been, how come their own side hasn't suffered any casualties yet? Sarah then catches on that this whole extermination mission seems like some kind of scheme. Suddenly, Ralph appears, advising them all with the current stalemate they should just pull out with no casualties. Then girls from Red Halada, while fawning over Ralph, also agree with him. Sarah explains werewolves are kobolds' third evolutionary form, with each one possessing special magic that would make them difficult to exterminate. Yuno agrees, adding on the evolved monsters can be difficult, with varying degrees of strength, magic, and speed. But then Knight Commander Dylan interjects, saying that's the very reason they need to exterminate the kobolds. With that, Ralph says he guesses there's no choice, having Sarah cast a barrier. Inside, he has everyone swear upon their names not to repeat what he's going to relay to them. Yuno gets nervous at first, but everyone within promises. Ralph then explains the monster attacks in the north seem to be artificially orchestrated by some organization, but they still haven't figured out the source, making everyone gasp. For now, they're calling this nefarious entity Runohark, and this is enough to convince Commander Dylan to pull out his knights. However, the knights outside the barrier suddenly get struck with a lightning spell. Just what is going on? Nima stares in horror at the sight of the kobold casualties. This is real, not like a viewing from the other side of a screen. Some who were there with them just a few hours ago are no longer there. Nima blamed herself for this. With the knights beginning their pullout, Shinki cast lightning so the kobold side could make an escape. The whole point of this battle was to get to safety while mitigating the attack from the extermination squad as best as they could. But it didn't turn out like Nima hoped. Meeting back with Cicely, Wilherd explains that 14 died, 11 are gravely injured and were dismembered or disfigured. The healers did everything they could, but this is still the result. One of the kobold groups was especially sad, with the fight leader having sacrificed himself. And even though Nima was hurting, she remembered him telling her, "You gotta do what you gotta do." Her resolve steeled, and she told the kobolds to stop crying for him. It's rude to the fallen. One of them shouted at Nima, blaming her for all of this. She understands and accepts his blame. But she won't let anyone disrespect the memory of their comrades. The kobolds anger further, questioning why they're not allowed to mourn the parents and friends they've lost. But Nima didn't say not to mourn them. She's really telling them to stop blaming themselves. Do they think they should have died instead? That the ones who died should have lived? Thoughts like those are selfish pity parties. The ambition of the fallen warriors was the pack's future. They wanted those they risked their lives for to be able to smile. Nima will take their resentment, all of it if she must. But she's going to be as strong as the people they lost, and put her life on the line so everyone else can live. The little sister kobold stands in front, agreeing with Nima, and so does Cicely. She believes Nima will lead them to peace. It's the sign of the stars. They led the kobold pack through the harshest of times. So she'll choose to believe them, in that Nima is their savior. The leader of the healers expresses agreement. He then reminds everyone that healing magic is not all-powerful. All living things die someday. For those who passed, their time had come. If they die, they should die fighting rather than as prey. They're carrying on the will of those they lost. Afterward, they discussed where to go from here. They decided to send the kobolds towards Mount Litimo in the southwest, while leaving the fallen with the guardian of the forest. Cicely decided to leave her little sister with Nima, making Nima excited that she might have landed the best animal-eared maid ever. Nima explains, since she's a noble, the little sister will have to learn proper etiquette, and she's fired up to do anything for Nima. They ask Nima to name the sister, and with her being a beast person, she won't be bound to Nima since she technically isn't a monster like Shinki or the kobolds. Nima names her Spica. It's the star that signifies the end of a cruel winter. Then the two kobold pups Go and Roku jump on Nima. They also want names. Go becomes Seigo and Roku becomes Rikusei. With the magic crest appearing under their fur, the pups happily lick their master. In the evening, they say their goodbyes for now, with Nima's side promising to meet the kobolds again once they finish up on their end. Back at base, they meet with Heelrun, who has the evidence they discussed. There are order and delivery receipts plus records of their usage. He found receipts for additional orders later, but couldn't find the goods anywhere. There are also signs of tampering in the usage records. Nima is surprised to hear that some of the invoices are fabricated. This means the merchants and some of the knights are involved. With that, Vilherd tells them he'll have the capital send agents to investigate this matter at once. They then head to the extermination squad party where a knight greets them. Vilherd congratulates the squad's success and for everything they do for the Empire. However, when the knight takes his leave, they have Shinki keep an eye on him. The prince and Nima then decide to grace Red Hlada to pay their respects. However, Nima recognizes Yuno's sword and gets upset. But Lars comforts her. She cannot lose face now. Greeting her now is Luck of the Ice Bear tribe. Nima gets excited seeing his bare ears, but Lars smacks some sense into her. Luck certain little Nima isn't the master of Lars, the holy wind beast, but is shocked to see their best friends. Nima and Luck decide to grab a bite to eat together, and when he picks her up, the soldiers stare and marvel. She finally gets to touch his ears, and it's exactly what she's been waiting for all along. The bottom is thin, but has a delightful fluffy feel. The top is firm and has a nice texture. She then spots Belgar cleaning dishes, a rowdy who had a misguided sense of justice, bullying a kobold pup because of his father's influence. Now determined to become strong enough to protect people, Nima applauds him, glad that he's on the right path. When telling him she's happy to be his friend, he can't help but blush. Returning back to the group, big sister Kana runs to grab onto Nima, wanting her to tell everything about her adventure. At the campfire, as Nima feeds her creatures, Kana is impressed seeing all the pacts she formed. Praising Nima for being beloved by the god of divine creation. Nima agrees, but she still has a lot to learn. About countries and people, she recognizes now the importance of her status. She doesn't want to burden anyone just because she's little. She doesn't want to bring shame on her family name. Kana then grabs onto her again, realizing Nima's gone through a lot. Luck tells her she can count on his group too if she's ever in trouble. Looking at them all, Nima hopes one day she can make people understand that there are some monsters they can talk to and befriend. She's certain Luck and the fight leader would have gotten along. At night, as Nima is woken up from sleep to see Sul outside of her window. It's nothing important, but he wants to take her to see a little bit of the world, a world brimming with beautiful things. A beauty that humans are foolish for not seeing. She thinks, humans are foolish and weak, yet serious and pure. Other living things come in many forms, and they're also doing what they can to survive. Regardless, Nima loves this world, everyone and everything in it, so she swears on her name that she'll succeed in uniting this world together, human and monster. Wow, that's it everyone. A soft end to this tale, but it's not over. Hopefully this will get a season 2, and she'll be able to prove to God this world is worth saving. But for now though, watch this next video. I'll see you all in the next one.